Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm very pleased to share with you a presentation on the Omega Speedmaster Professional Sapphire Sandwich. So this has the dual sapphire crystals on the top of the case as well as the case back. It's a little bit more pricey than the standard professional, the Hesalite version of the Moonwatch, but I like this one better. For the longest time I thought Hesalite was the way to go if you were buying a Speedy, but I've changed my mind. I think this one is probably the best purchase out of the two to make, and I'll get into all that reasoning in a minute. Now I'll put some dimensions here on the side of the screen so you guys can see the dimensions of this piece, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. It is a really great case. Just look at those flared lugs that twist down, the big tachymeter ring that just juts up. And then, of course, this version has that dramatic box sapphire crystal where you get some really cool distortions from different angles. One thing that's a little interesting is the right side of the case is slightly flared compared to the left side. So those function pushers, as well as your crown at the 3 o'clock position, has a little bit of more, I guess you could say, protection. It's not quite crown guards like you would see on a dive watch, but there is just a little bit more case on that side, which I actually think looks pretty good. It's very subtle, very hard to pick up on. Now, as far as the size, I think this actually wears pretty well for a 42mm chronograph. Here it is next to my GMT Master 2, which is 40mm, and visually they are very similar. And then I also have my Seamaster here that you guys can see the side-by-side comparison here. Very, very similar. I think the lugs are a little bit more dramatically twisted on the Speedmaster, and I like that. I think that looks great. So let's get into some of the differences. Obviously, this one is going to have the sapphire crystal, and like I said, it is nice and dramatic. Sits proud of the tachymeter ring. You do get the distortions, and I don't believe there's any anti-reflective treatment on this crystal. So you do get some visual light play, and I think it looks pleasant. Going in on a macro level, there is no visible difference to my eye on this dial with this one versus the standard Hesalite version. Everything looks the same to me, the same printing, the same loom application, the same texture to the dial, the sunken registers, the white handset. It's a very clean look. I mean, if you look at this, very symmetrical, very easy to read at a glance, and I think it's easy to see why this has become just such a classic watch. Even if it didn't have its amazing tie-in with NASA and space history, I think it's a solid design, a timeless design, and one that works very well. Now, some of the other differences, really, I'm going to have to kind of take this NATO strap off to show you. This is an Omega NATO. They cost about $160. I bet it costs Omega peanuts to make, so I bet they have a really good, premium or profit on those. But here's the case back. You can see a Sapphire Exhibition case back with Omega's caliber 1863 chronograph, Lamania base. Now this is it's nicer than the 1861 that they put on the Hesalite, and the main difference is you have nicer finish work throughout, and the finish work's actually very, very impressive. You can see really nice polished edges to the plates. It just has I don't know, it looks really, really good. The rhodium plating is very sharp, and then instead of a plastic brake, which, you know, I don't know why Omega uses in the Hesalite version, you're using a metal one here. So I think the 1863 by far is not only the more pleasant to look at movement, but I would rather have a metal brake than a plastic brake. But that is just my own opinion. But yeah, very, very pleasant to look at. You can see all the little gears moving. This is a fun one to look at, definitely. Now let me give you a sample of the action here. So I've just engaged the chronograph. You can see on this side, the seconds hand is sweeping around. Now, every time that seconds hand makes a full rotation, you'll see a noticeable jump in the minute register over by the 3 o'clock position. Now, once that goes around 2 times, you'll see that the hour counter will move to the 1 position there. So very easy to read. You can time something up to 12 hours, which I don't know what I would ever use that for. Maybe if I was driving a long distance, like I was driving to Las Vegas from here in Utah. But now as this gets over to cross over, I'm going to show you the back, and we're going to watch the gear change, which is going to be pretty cool. So here we go. We've got less than 10 seconds now. Get nice and close. Check this out. See it right up there. Tick over. That's really cool. So let's put this NATO back together. The Sapphire sandwich comes on leather or on the 5-link bracelet, which I think is awesome and looks really good with this watch. My friend Mike, who I'm borrowing this watch from, has it on the Omega NATO right now. Black and gray, which I think visually looks awesome, but you've got to take the NATO strap off to see that amazing caseback. So on the whole, this is a really, really nice chronograph. I think it's a step up from the Hesalite. Yes, the Sapphire is going to be more scratch resistance. And if you look on it straight on, you can see kind of a grayish ring or a smoky ring. That's just the nature of the shape of the crystal and its reflection. You're not going to find that on the Hesalite, but I actually really like the way it looks. And I think the movement is an upgrade as well, the 1863. So anyways, guys, let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Big thank you to Mike for letting this one in. This is one of my personal favorite watches and one that I would love to add to my own rotation. So again, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.